What's up, everybody, and welcome to another training on the Team Member Perspective podcast show. My name is Coulter. I'm your host, former top producing team member of 6 years, and this is part 2 of our 7-part series around sales process for team members. And for me, I believe in structure. I believe that when we have structure, things become repeatable. Consistency happens. We hit our goals. And I believe that structure brings clarity for ourselves, if you're a team member listening to this, or for our agency, if you're an agent listening to this. And so the sales process series is all about structure. And I believe that all self-improvement starts with self-awareness, okay? And your ability to understand what you're doing right now, what your process looks like, and to find and locate and find holes within your process. Your ability to do that and be self-aware of those things is the first step to any sort of self-improvement. I would encourage you, a suggestion I might have is to do a little self-awareness. And specifically with what we'll talk about part 2 today of our sales process is evaluate your effectiveness in this area. All right, real quick, exciting news. We finally have the Win the Week weekly planners available for insurance team members. If you're in a sales position and you're in the insurance industry, I want you to know you've got unlimited things that you can do every single week, but you've got a limited resource of time. So what you choose to work on matters. My question is, are you using strategy or are you just flying by the seam of your pants hoping that you hit your goals, hoping that you end up working on the right things? Listen, if you want to get to that next level, if you want to sell more policies than you ever thought possible, if you want to make more money and have that bigger, fatter paycheck, start planning out your weeks. Take time every day, set aside to review your last week, hold yourself accountable, stop waiting for your agent to do that and just do it, right? Be proactive with your accountability, but then also make plans, make adjustments along the way so that you make sure that you're spending your time the best way, the most effective and efficient way possible, and you will work on the right things. And when you work on the right things, you'll start to sell more. So again, Win the Week weekly planner for team members is available. Check the comments below for a link to purchase, and we'll get you back to the training. Part 2 of our 7-part series of the sales process series for team members is attention. Okay, part 1, we talked all about finding and the importance of having a finding system. Always be finding. Even on the days when you feel like all you can seem to do is sell policies, write policies, or put out fires and do the service work, how important it is that we have a finding system so that we are ensuring that we're keeping our funnel full of opportunities. And I believe that consistent finding leads to consistent production, and that consistent production really cannot happen if we don't have consistent finding. So finding is very important. Now, the second piece to this system is attention. We can find all of the people in the world, but if we don't get their attention, nothing is going to happen. Nothing will happen until you get someone's attention. So the question is, how effective are we in our roles at getting people's attention? For example, if you are a team member and you are in a sales role, and let's just say that you work internet leads, and this really can be applied with event leads that you might get, with referrals, any area, like any finding avenue that you have. My question is, like, how effective are you at getting their attention? When you call an internet lead, what's your contact ratio? Let's say that you call 10 internet leads. With how many of those 10 are you getting on the phone? With how many of those 10 are you getting their attention? And I think those are two kind of different things, right? But again, nothing happens until we can get someone's attention. And so I ask this question a lot to team members that we coach and we help and we train. And I ask them, like, hey, so of 10 leads that you guys get, that you're getting, with how many of those 10 are you actually talking with? And a lot of team members that are working internet leads, they'll say, you know what, I think I'm probably getting 2 or 3 out of the 10. Okay, so let me ask you this. We could focus on improving our closing ratio for those 2 or 3 out of 10 that we're getting on the phone, which could help us increase our sales. Improving our closing ratio will always result in more sales. But what if we were to improve our contact ratio? What if instead of only getting 2 people on the phone out of 10, what if you were able to get 5 on the phone out of 10? Getting more people on the phone and improving your contact ratio will improve the amount of policies that you sell. I believe that improving your contact ratio is just as good as improving your closing ratio. It's going to add more policies to your bottom line. Okay, and so out of 10 leads that you get as a team member, with how many of those 10 are you getting on the phone? Okay, or even if you're a hybrid sales service team member and you're creating a lot of opportunities from the everyday service calls, with how many of those service pivots that you do are you getting people's attention? Okay, let's say that you run a list on the book of business. You call 10 names on the book. These are all your customers. Okay, so we're working the book at this point. Out of 10 outbound calls that you make on any given list, how many of those 10 is the customer actually picking up the phone? If it's 3 out of 10, well, what if we could increase that to 6 out of 10? When we improve our contact ratio, it's just as good as improving our closing ratio. We sell more because we can get more people on the phone. We can spend more time talking to people, presenting to people, and less time trying to get them on the phone. So to get granular and maybe specific onto a few tactical things that will help you get more people on the phone, first and foremost, it's double dial. Meaning, if I call you right now and you see a random number, you don't answer, whether it goes straight to voicemail or it rings all the way through and goes to voicemail, I'm going to hang up and I'm going to immediately read. I'm not leaving any voicemail. I'm just double dialing. I'm dialing twice. The odds of you getting them on the phone if you double dial go up significantly. You'll find just by implementing the double dial with prospective customers, so they're not your customers, they're internet leads, they're event leads, they're referrals, they're whatever it is, double dialing will get more of those people on the phone. But even if it's your current customers, double dialing can get more of your people on the phone, okay? And so we're just increasing our odds by quite a bit by double dialing to get more people on the phone up front. Okay, so that's the first thing I would try. Second thing that I would do is utilize your text messages. Okay, now with text messages, it's very important to understand what the end goal of the text message is, which is to get them to respond. The goal of the text message isn't to get them on the phone right away. We're missing some steps. The goal of the text message is to get them to respond. And so to get people to respond, think about what type of text message would get you to respond, okay? Would you respond to a text message that says, hey, this is Coulter with XYZ agency. I called because this. If you're like me, I probably wouldn't respond to that. And so what can we say? How can we text someone with the purpose of getting them to respond? Okay, and I think it's important to, again, think about you getting those texts. Think about you being the prospect or you being the customer. What would get you to want to respond to them? Okay. And a couple principles here are, I think it's important to still be vague, right? We want to create some sort of curiosity. We want there to be a little bit of an unknown. Instead of just telling them exactly who you are and why you were calling and what you can help them with, let's hold some of that back and let's be more vague. Because again, the purpose of the text is not to get them to call you, it's to get them to respond. And so after I double dial, I like to send a very generic text. The whole purpose is to get them to respond. The text that I send, you ready? Is this Coulter? ? That's it. When you text them generically like that, think about if you got that text message. Are you going to respond? I know I would. Okay, so again, understanding the end goal of the text is to get them to respond. Okay, when you send that, you'll get a lot more people to respond to you. Okay, improving your contact ratio with current customers or even prospects. Okay, and the last thing that I will share is the importance of just understanding that people have beliefs, okay? And when you're contacting people, when you give them too much information about who you are, who you're with, why you're calling, what your goal is for them, it's like they have all the information that they need. Why would they need to respond? They've already made a decision if they want to engage with you or not because you've given them all this information. But when you're generic and you say, hey, is this Coulter? I'm like, yes, who's this? This next piece of this is the bridge to get them on the phone. Because we don't want to do selling over text. We can't hear what they're saying. We can't gauge their tonality, which is what we can gauge when getting them on the phone. But we want to give them a reason to want to get on the phone. Okay, we want to still have some curiosity there. Okay, and so your bridge to get them from text to phone is very important. I think it's important that you let them know who you are, but instead of saying, hi, this is Coulter with XYZ company agency, like giving them all the information, I would say just keep it a little bit more vague. hey, this is Coulter with XYZ Agency. I would refrain from telling them what company you're with because you don't know what they believe about your company. When I was in door-to-door sales, when I was selling DirecTV, I realized really quickly that if I went up to people's doors and I said, hi, I'm Coulter and I'm with DirecTV, I'm basically losing all sort of control. Like, I don't know, maybe they had a great Uncle Jerry that had a terrible experience with DirecTV and they don't want to ever engage with DirecTV, even though we can maybe help them solve their problems, save them more money, get them more channels. They weren't able to go through that because they're stuck on DirecTV. And so when you give them your company, when you give them too much information up front like that, you're basically just giving them the ball, right? Maybe they had a great experience with your company. Great. You'll probably keep them on the phone. But if they didn't, they're probably going to try to get you off the phone as quick as possible. So keep it general. This is Coulter with XYZ Agency, and create a reason that's going to get them to want to engage with you, that's going to get them to want to call you. And it's in the form of what's in it for me? What's in it for the customer? Well, if it's internet lead, hey, I think we might be able to help you out with that auto insurance. I should be available if you want to give me a call, right? We want to keep it vague, but tell them how we might be able to help them. This is Coulter with XYZ Agency. I've noticed a few ways to improve your coverage and decrease your cost. Let me know when you have a few minutes. See, we're being vague enough to create curiosity, but we're giving them a reason to want to get on the phone with us, okay? So I believe that increasing your contact ratio will increase the amount of policies that you sell. Increasing your contact ratio and your ability to get people's attention and get more people on the phone will create more sales for yourself. Increasing your contact ratio and getting more people's attention is just as good as increasing your closing ratio. Evaluate, how am I doing with getting people's attention? We'll catch you in the next one.